The draft is upon us, Rams Nation, and we're going to preview everything you need to know before the big night on Thursday, Friday, and also the long day on Saturday. We'll talk about all that next on this draft episode here on the Rams Up Podcast Network. What's going on, Rams Nation? Welcome back to the Rams Up Podcast Network. I'm Ian. That's Mark. Like, subscribe, share this video, share this podcast with all your fellow Rams and football fans out there. We very much appreciate it. Mark, how you doing today, man? Draft is upon us very soon.
Yeah, and all these mocks that we've done, all these discussions we've had, I think I'm more confused than ever about what the Rams might do here. But that's
Yeah.
what makes it fun, right? We're gonna be in for a surprise or two, I think, come Thursday night and hopefully Friday if the Rams gonna pick up a second round pick, second and third round on Friday. That'll be fun too.
Yeah, that'll be fun for sure. But before we get started, Rams Nation, a couple things I want to bring up with the offseason with our players, with what Devontae, Havenstein, Matthew Stafford, and our coach and GM had to say, in their official offseason press conferences before the draft. But before we get into any of that, I do got a shout out as I go to single screen view here. A friend of the channel, a friend who I've met at tailgates, a friend who I've enjoyed having Rams banter with, and that would be JD, Prominent Kings. You may know him on Twitter X as he does fantastic pins. Let me just flash that real quick for you as he sent me a care package of stuff as I ordered some other ones, but he sent me some other ones that he was out of, but he had a couple left hiding, and I'm lucky that he was able to get it. So I did want a Todd Gurley pin, as you can see that here, and the quality is so much better than what my webcam could picture, but there, I got the Todd Gurley one. Great size. Again, for reference, I got a Jalen Ramsey one here. I have from my OGs, Jack Youngblood, and I do have plenty of other stickers, right? I have a Son Goku style one, if you can see that. Beautiful. I got some Jared Verse ones as well and some other stuff. So just wanted to shout him out for some great pins, some fantastic, fantastic gear as well. Again, real quick as we show it, JD, Prominent Kings, follow him on X Twitter. That's where you can get all his info from his official shop. Tons of pins nonstop. Dodger ones for all you other LA fans. He's got Laker ones. He's got other fan base pins, stickers as well. So I just wanted to shout you out, JD, as you make good stuff, and I'm looking forward to my Puka pin. I think I got some Aaron Donald ones that I'm waiting to get as well. So I'm a fan. I'm going to keep ordering, and if that interests you, Rams Nation, tune in to his stuff, and really good quality. Again, the webcam it does not do it justice. Very, very good, and I can't wait to flash that on my jerseys and hats and whatnot as well. But with that said, time to get into some fun draft stuff, Mark. But I think it's important to let's get perspective from the players and what their thoughts about the Rams organization, maybe their thoughts on the draft as well, before we get into our final thoughts and preview on that. So as the Rams offseason begins, maybe you saw it videos on Instagram, maybe you've seen videos on Twitter of all the guys coming in to have some training and get acclimated with the offseason and try to win a damn world championship, right? So, boom, as we pull this up here for fun, you can see Puka Nacua, others pulling up to the draft. I mean, absolutely fantastic. As you can see here, Rob Havenstein, you can see Kyron Williams. You see tons of guys. But, Mark, I think what's important to talk about here is, man, isn't it crazy that Devontae Adams is a Ram? Just first off, isn't that
Yeah,
insane seeing him walk up there?
yeah, it really is. And by the way, did you hear him comment on the 49ers attempt to recruit him? It was very interesting. His agent apparently telling
There you go. Yes,
telling
sir.
him that hey, the 49ers want they're only paying wholesale, and Devontae saying, hey, I don't, I'm playing for retail, sorry, and shut that down.
Yeah,
That's
that's
going to be
crazy.
interesting. Yeah, but yeah, Devontae and Puka. We haven't had a receiver like Devontae in a long time. We really haven't. We've had
No,
some
we have
darn
not.
good receivers, but he's a different kind of beast.
No, he definitely is. And Rams Nation, I mean, we're blessed to get him in here. Obviously, yes, he took some jabs at the 49ers for, saying, like, hey, man, I'm at retail value, not wholesale. And, the 49ers were obviously not wanting to budge on the price tag. And no problem. Sean McVay had his super recruiting when he was in Japan. Perfect. And then, Devontae also talked about his beef with Jalen. It really wasn't anything super serious, as he told Mike Silver. The more I had to do was like, damn, man, you left me off your top 5 list. What the hell's up with that? I'm a baller. So, and, hey, they squashed it. I think everything's fine. I'm sure those guys would be happy to team up with themselves again if that were to happen. But we'll talk about that shortly. So Devontae, a Ram, good to see him walk in with Coach Yarbs, our wide receiver coach. As long as, you know, he's healthy, I think we got a great shot to have 2,000-yard wide receivers, Puka and him, right? I think that's a given. But moving on, Rams Nation, Rob Havenstein talked to reporters today and, gives update on his health and other stuff. But he did have some offseason shoulder cleanup, I guess he called it, where it wasn't a super procedure, as he told Jordan Rodriguez. It was just getting the junk out of his shoulder. So, hey, maybe he had some injuries that needed, some addressing, but nothing that is going to keep him out of practice, nothing that's going to keep him from playing any games, as he told reporters. So that's a great sign as well with him. And then also, which is, really good, and I'm happy to hear, is that he's really happy to get Coleman Shelton back. Those are good friends that he had said, somebody that he trusts in the lineup. And then he also told Bo Limmer on the flip side of that, like, hey, man, this is just the business. It's rough. It's brutal. And he didn't share the exact details of what he told Bo Limmer, our former starting center now, as, hey, McVay and Snead did give the update, like, yep, Coleman's here to start, which is crazy to declare, as we talked about that not that long ago. But he said, Rob, hey, may the best 5 win the job and start. And that's exactly the right mentality. But he is excited to have, Coleman Shelton's experience, his, wherewithal, a true professional, he called him, the way he studies. He's a big fan of him. So I think that's a good sign as well. Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, it is. And I actually heard a Rob Havenstein reference this morning on the way in. I was listening to Daniel Jeremiah and Mina Kimes did a mock draft, and it was pretty interesting. Mina would throw out for each team, here's 2 players, you got to pick one of them. And they got late in the draft, late in the first round, and Daniel Jeremiah brought up Havenstein and a player comp. I think it was Josh Simmons. And he said, every year, there's a tackle late in the first round, plays a little stiff, very talented. It's going to work for him in the NFL, kind of like Rob Havenstein. And Havenstein's been around so long, he's probably compared 20 tackles to him. So yeah,
Yeah, I
he's a
know,
rock
man.
for us, or a rock at right tackle for us.
He is, absolutely. And he's definitely one of the best linemen in team history, franchise history, whatever you want to call it. I mean, if you're giving a Rams all-star team, right, the all Rams team, he's definitely the starting right tackle. That's a part of that, And your left tackle, do you like Orlando? Do you like Havenstein? Whatever. It's all preference at that point. But I think everyone would pick Rob Havenstein as the right tackle in this all-time Rams team. So, hey, final year of his contract, feeling good, feeling healthy. He's ready to go, feels rejuvenated, and let's go win that damn world championship, Rob, as I'm sure he wants to do in his maybe final season as a Ram. But another player who spoke officially to Rams reporters is Matthew Stafford, as he is somebody who, man, oh man, I'm excited to have him back, Mark. Stafford's first press conference since his contract adjustment, as those numbers are still not available, which is pretty crazy, but he's here, he's going to play, and look at him, man, slimmed down, beard shaven, ready for the long season ahead. But he gave some updates, nothing crazy that we probably already didn't know, but hey, he played the game pretty good. As he said, quote, I never really wanted to leave the Rams, despite his looking around. As we talked about earlier, Mark, it was a power play to get a little bit more money out of the Rams, see if the Rams would blink, and pay up a little bit more. And, we talk about it. The Rams are pretty damn savage. That is not their game, and they will let anybody go. They will cut anybody loose. They don't give a damn who you are. So, hey, Stafford gave it a shot, came back, fantastic. And then on top of that, he was asked of, hey, what if the Rams draft a rookie QB? How do you feel about that? And he said, hey, when Stetson Bennett came in, the Rams notified me. They didn't keep me in the dark, maybe like a la Aaron Rodgers Packers a while back when they got Jordan Love, and it was a shock him watching it in real time on Pat McAfee's show. That was crazy, by the way, just thinking of that unfold for millions of people to see. So the Rams do not do that, and they will not do that if it happens again this upcoming draft where they select a young quarterback. And Stafford said, hey, well, I'll welcome him with open arms and try to teach him as much as I possibly can. So great attitude, great mentality. Now, deep down, he's probably like, damn, they drafted my replacement. But Stafford's self-aware. He knows that he's only got a couple years, maybe 3, 4, 5 max. If everything goes perfectly and he's still got it health-wise, arm talent-wise, and all that. So, Mark, I think we're in a great spot. Any rookie QB coming in would be blessed to learn under a future Hall of Fame quarterback, right?
Yeah, yeah. Who was the starting quarterback a few years back? Was it Brady or who was it that said it's not my job to mentor, to take these young quarterbacks under my
Yeah, I
wing?
mean, Ryan Tannehill had that mentality. Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, I get it. I totally get that feeling and sentiment. You're a competitor. You're like, I don't want my replacement and help teach him to beat me out one day or to supplant me. But the NFL is just always guys turning in. I think Rob Havenstein said this as well in this press conference, like, telling Bo is like, your replacement is being drafted every year in some capacity or being brought in.
Yeah,
And it's up to you to prove it that you still got it every single season. So I know Stafford will have that. Rob will have that if we draft tackle. Bo will have that competing with Coleman and any receiver, running back. I mean, anyone on this team, they're
yeah,
all high character guys, and I think that won't be an issue for sure. But I
yeah,
understand, like some
yeah.
guys don't have that mentality, and they say screw that, right?
Yeah, I think it depends on where you are in your career, and I would hope your typical 34, 35, 36-year-old quarterback would have it in him to take a young quarterback under his wing. No, that's what my hope would be. I get it,
Yeah,
especially if you're younger, you're competing for a job. But Stafford has to realize, that it's not necessarily a swan song, but he's going to be moving on to retirement, in the next 2 years probably, and this is
yeah.
his opportunity to pass on some knowledge to a young buck. I do want to say one thing about Stafford. I don't know if I wish I had saved the clip. I could have shared it. I don't know if you saw him out on the golf course with Bryson DeChambeau.
Oh, when he
Uh,
threw a lapsy laser beam at him. Yeah, yeah. So anyone's
that,
still
that,
questioning, does the old gray beard quarterback still got arm talent? You bet your ass he does.
yeah, if
Okay.
you haven't seen that, go dig it up on YouTube. It's probably on
Yeah.
Instagram, and he turns to somebody and says, "Can this guy play?" Oh yeah, I think he thinks he could play in the NFL, and he just rocks him with a laser beam. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that was a good video. I forgot about that. So yeah, great to have Stafford back, leading the charge, getting Devontae acclimated, right? Getting Tutu Atwell fully acclimated as a starter, and then whatever other offensive rookie playmaker that will eventually draft. Let's just call it what it is. He will be there to get them ready to go on a Super Bowl championship run for this long football campaign season like it is every season. And I'm glad he's here. And whatever rookie quarterback that we take, which I do think we will take one in some part of the draft. I don't know when. They'll be lucky to be learning under the Soul Snatcher, Glock 9, Matthew Stafford. So as we move on, then, Mark, to other topics, McVay and Snead, they talked about the draft today as they finally, you know, had their appearance together as this fun little video here if you're watching on YouTube. We're on the clock. Yes, they are. And in that press conference, they talked about numerous things, right? Avoiding maybe players they like, avoiding what they're going to do at pick 26. Of course, the draft is very close, couple days away, Rams Nation. So totally get that. But they did give a little tidbit about Jalen Ramsey, which I thought was very interesting, where reporters had asked McVay and Snead, and McVay said, hey, we will definitely never rule out a good player, joining our squad. And then even Les Snead went on to say, hey, we did talk to the Dolphins, and they still got a lot of stuff to figure out. Obviously, everyone's in draft mode. But, Mark, Rams Nation, they're having conversations. I didn't think this would be a possibility, but because of the way the contract is set up with the Dolphins and Jalen, I mean, they're going to have to eat a lot of it. So it could be very much like a Von Miller situation. Obviously, we would probably wouldn't give up a second and third round pick for him, but definitely where we can get a draft pick given up and we don't have to pay Jalen very much to join back up with this team, which I think is incredibly valuable. So it's out there and it's a
So
possibility, Mark.
let me ask you this: Jalen Ramsey comes over to the Rams. How do they deploy him? Is he back to the star five? Is he a CB1? What does that mean for
Yeah.
Darius Williams? Yeah, I'm not sure what the answer is. I mean,
Well,
he's his.
throw his
Go,
ass back there at the star position that nobody wants to play. Right? I
well,
mean, that's really it. That would be his role. And I think that would be fantastic. Now, could he do some outside stuff in that? But he'd be like, hey, Jalen, you wanted to play the star full time. Perfect. No problem. We'll have you be there majority of the time. Let Quentin play traditional safety, which he wants to do. Let Cameron Curl obviously move around from the box of free to strong safety. Have McCullough be the dime. Have Cameron Kitchens. Obviously they have to figure all that out, but that'd be a great group, right? You have Akello at the outside corner. You have Darius Williams / Kobe Durant at the other outside. You have Jalen Ramsey at the star nickel. You have, Quinn, Cameron, and Cameron Curl or Kitchens and Curl all be rotating at the free safety, strong safety spots. And then you have McCullough fill in at that dime linebacker, dime, safety spot. It's a good group right there. And I think it would work, but we're a ways away from that being a reality. But it is no longer some, fever dream where you're hoping Jalen will come back, Rams Nation. It is definitely a possibility, which is crazy.
yeah, and not to get ahead of you, you may be headed in this direction already, but Snead made it sound like he suggested they might be talking to a couple of other teams too, conversations about players as well. So what wasn't
Yeah.
letting much out of the bag though.
Yep, and that's the right thing to do. Don't let us know. Don't let other teams know, and that's how things don't happen. When other front offices, other teams' leadership hears that you're spilling the beans, and it's like, we can't trust you. We're not doing business with you, right? A la Luka Doncic, Nico Harrison / Rob Pelinka, NBA style. Don't say anything, or it's not happening. So perfectly fine with Les Snead keeping it zip tight. Works for me. Let's get good players. Whatever you got to do. So, hey, there's
Right.
some updates from McVay and Snead. Again, not giving too much on what they're going to do in the draft. Totally get it. But with that, Rams Nation, do not forget the Rams draft house is at the LA Fire Department's Air Operations HQ. I wonder how that's going to look and be set up. They're going to do like hangar style, like military style. They're going to be doing it in maybe leadership's offices. Who knows? But that should be really, really fun. And it's really cool to see the Rams do different locations throughout these past couple years and move it around. I think it's good, rejuvenating, and fresh for the Rams leadership, the front office, the scouting department, obviously anyone else that's tied to it. I think it's cool. It keeps everybody, instead of it being very corporate feeling, like right, at the team facility, this kind of gives it like a cool grand scale event that I think is good for the mentality of everyone involved in the Rams franchise. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's in Van Nuys, right? I think it's in Van Nuys, so it's
I
convenient.
want to
It's
say
the
that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, the other side of the valley, and hey, maybe they're expanding their fan base to pulling in a lot of the first responders into Rams Nation with a little move like this. But the Rams are so good at figuring this stuff out. It never occurred to me, hey, this would be a smart thing to do. Let's have it at a LA Fire Department facility. But it makes
Yeah, it's
perfect
crazy.
sense given what's transpired over the last several months, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, hey, we'll see how it looks. And I hope we continue to have it at cool spots throughout the future seasons in this McSnead era. McVay, less Snead. So there's your update on that, Rams Nation. But what is the draft order in case you're not 100% sure on that? Let's pull that up real quick. So, the 2025 draft picks for the Los Angeles Rams. Round 1, number 26. Round 2, no picks. Round 3, number 90 and number 101 overall. Then round 4, number 127. No fifth round pick. Sixth round, we have number 190, 195, 201, 202, and then no picks in the seventh. So not a bad assembly. Obviously, there's tons of comp picks in that sixth round. One of the compensation picks is from Raheem Morris being hired to the Atlanta Falcons. That's why we have an extra third rounder there. No second rounder because of the trade up for defensive tackle Braden Fisk last draft, which worked out. He's tied Aaron Donald for the most sacks in a rookie season by a Rams player. Crazy. So that worked out, but we'll see how they maneuver it. Do they trade up? Do they trade down? All well, that will break down right now. But I think real quick, just keep this in mind. Here's some fun facts from Rams PR as I flash this real quick. Mark, Rams Nation. General Manager Les Snead is the only GM over the last decade to draft at least 3 players who have been honored as the offensive or defensive rookie of the year. Future Hall of Famer Aaron Donald, former All-Pro running back Todd Gurley in back-to-back seasons, and then outside linebacker Jared Verse, who looks like he's going to be a future All-Pro if he keeps playing the way he's playing and keeps getting better and better. So absolutely fantastic. And then one more tidbit about Les Snead. Since 2014, since Snead has been the Rams GM, he has had just 5 first-round selections, and then 3 of which have won Offensive Defensive Rookie of the Year, we just named them, and 4 that have been voted to the Pro Bowl as a member of the Rams. So, F them picks for many, many years. It worked out. We got great players. And then when we've had these first-round selections, we've had a lot of home runs in just, 5 tries, Mark, which is incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, Les Snead, I think, if you'd asked your average knowledgeable NFL fan, hey, who's the best GM? Who's the best drafter in the National Football League? Les Snead's got to be in the top 3. Everybody
Yeah,
knows who this guy
absolutely.
is, and it's gotten to the point where I think everybody is interested to see who the Rams are going to pick because it's probably going to be a really, really good player. And as soon as he is kind of what you used to feel this way about the Steelers and the Ravens, right? And maybe you still do, but when they make a pick, you just kind of slap yourself in the head and absolutely. Wow.
Yeah.
They nailed it again, and that's kind of how it rolls with the Rams these days.
Yep, and we'll see how it is with James Gladstone being gone and others departing with him to work for the
Oh,
Jacksonville Jaguars now, right? It had been fine since Brad Holmes left to the Lions. We obviously won the World Championship, Super Bowl. We've still drafted very well. So now, as coaches have been poached every year, now GMs and front office guys, or I should say front office personnel, are being poached for GM jobs and higher positions elsewhere. So it'll be interesting to see how this draft unfolds and how this draft class will ultimately do. More times than not, it's been pretty dang good, right? Outside of this first round stat, but the Les Snead masterclass of rounds 3 and later, I mean it's been absolutely freaking great. But here's that fun stat, Rams Nation. We do well in the first round if we were to stay put, and I do have tons of confidence. But again, going back to the draft picks here, and we'll start with round 1 then, Mark. Why not? Because
yeah.
there's so many different ways this can go. So I ask you this. What do you realistically think the Rams are going to do with that first round pick? Trade up, stay put because they want to, stay put because no one wants to trade with them to take that spot? Or do you think they're going to do everything they can to trade back and acquire a second round pick and more capital? What do you think, realistically?
Realistically, I think that the no-brainer move is to try to trade back. And I've mentioned this several times on the podcast. Just to me, it's kind of common sense. You look at the draft value chart and you go, okay, the Rams should be able to get out of 26, pick up a second round pick and maybe a fifth rounder and a fourth, whatever the math is. Now that equation is going to be unequal if the Rams do make the move. It's not going to be an even trade. They're going to have to be willing to get a little bit less back, and it's a matter of how much less they're willing to get back to pull the trigger on a trade, and that's just a decision they're going to have to make. What is my prediction? I think they're going to find a trading partner. What you have to hope is one of those premier players slips a little bit, and the Rams are willing to pass on them. If someone like Jihad Campbell is there, or a lot of people like Malachi Starks,
Yeah.
Luther Burden. guys like that are there and someone really wants them, then maybe the Rams can drop back and pick up an extra pick. Uh, It's hard for me to predict if that's really going to happen because I don't know what other teams are, if what players other teams are willing to make that move for, even though mathematically by the value chart, whoever moves up to 26 they're gonna win the trade on paper, but the Rams will
Yeah.
win by adding an extra pick in the top 120 or so.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, realistically, what do I think they're gonna do? I think they're gonna try to trade up for someone that McVay loves. I think they're
Hey,
gonna try. I think they're gonna try and do it. If it works out, then boom, that trigger will be pulled. If it doesn't, I think they're gonna trade back. That's what I believe. Now, again, who knows? Nobody knows Jack Tiddley squat, right? There'll be leaks that happen the day of the draft every year, right? Where I think Diana Rossini said, "Oh, an NFC team really loves Brock Bowers. Let's see what happens." And then later at the end of the day, she said, "Oh, Rams are trying desperately to get Brock Bowers," right? So there'll be little hints that we'll hear, maybe not the Rams, but you hear for a majority of teams, and that can dictate the movement that could potentially be going on. As there are no teams that have traded with each other yet in this draft order in round one, which is very shocking. So a lot of teams are thinking, okay, let's see how the first, 4, 5, 6 picks unfold. And then teams will pull their trigger on being like, oh, Ashton Genty fell. We got to get him. Or,
yeah,
oh, this offensive tackle we want. Or, oh, Shador, or whatever, right? I think teams are just waiting to see how the draft kicks off and then people will start making their
yeah.
moves. So,
The problem is without a second round pick to move up 10 spots, let's say, I'm thinking, someone like Tyler Warren, you got to probably get up into the 12 or 14 slot.
yeah.
You're going to have to give up big value next year. That's the only way. I think it's the only way it happens, unless there's a player they could throw in. And I don't know if teams are, the teams that are willing to do that are the teams that are basically throwing in the towel for 2025 and looking
Yeah.
ahead to next year. And maybe there's teams out there like that. The Colts come to mind. If the Colts, I think they're at 14 there. A lot of people see them mocking Tyler Warren to the Colts. And
Yeah.
if Tyler Warren's on there and the Colts are on the clock, um, are the Rams going to give up a second round or potentially even a first rounder next year? Because that's probably what it's going to take. And would I be okay with that? I think I would because
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
because
Rams Nation, I mean, we're in the win now mode, Mark. I mean, that's why you feel good,
right,
right? Yeah.
right,
Yeah. So I mean,
exactly.
yeah. I mean, I don't mean to cut you off, but it's just like,
No,
yeah,
that's
dude,
fine.
win now mode, man. But that's what I realistically think. I think they're gonna wait. Let's say Tyler Warren's still there in 12, 13, 14 range. I mean, probably not, but I think then they'll be like McVay will probably be like, yo, let's go. It may not be him, maybe Colston. I mean, who knows? I think McVay's going to fall in love drastically with one of these offensive skill players, and they're going to be like, all right, let's make some calls. Let's see what it'll take. Is it realistic? Will a team want to do it just like they did last year for Bowers, like they did the year before for Dalton Kincaid, who ended up going to Buffalo? I mean, they've been trying 2 years in a row. Why would this year be any different with another good tight end group, in my opinion? So I think
Yeah,
that'll happen. And if it doesn't, I do expect them to try and trade back, but you got to find a dance partner to be able to do that dance
right.
with you so you can trade back. So who knows? But I would be fine either way. I think I would just more enjoy seeing a trade back, not for entertainment value, just for team building power and entertainment that way. I think a trade back would make way more sense. Let's acquire a second round pick, but uh, who
Yeah,
knows?
and
But I would
and
like to see that.
if it is Colston Loveland, now it's not going to be nearly as expensive. You're maybe moving up 6 or 7 spots, so maybe it's not going to cost you a fortune in 2026 picks. Still challenging though. Without a second round pick, you look at
Yeah,
those that value card, and the value of those picks goes down quickly, and
it
you
does.
accelerate the next year, and then you're just you're paying the piper next year, like we are with having Braden Fisk on board. No second round pick. Is it worth it? I think so.
Yeah, no, it's been worth it for sure. But let's go down the hypothetical lane then, Mark, that we try to trade up. No one wants to trade back with us, right? Or wants us to move up so we can trade back. Who would you like to see at pick 26, round one?
Well, after I think you've been a big help, kind of, you know, putting into focus, who the really great players are that are in it. Who's going to drop though? I think there's a group of guys that I'd be rooting for. I used to be in the Malachi Starks camp, but I think you sold me on Nick Ammonwari, and I don't know who's going first. And I know
Yeah,
that or a month ago, Ammonwari was the talk of the town at the safety position. Everybody's interested in him. Everybody's bringing him in, talk to him.
yeah.
Then there's Jihad Campbell, and then there's like three or four wide receivers. I flip my opinion on them as well. Matthew Golden. Some people are sour on Luther Burden, but he's super talented. Man, I just don't know. I think it's Campbell, Emanwari,
Yeah.
one of the wide receivers. That's what I'm thinking, and then the cornerbacks. I tell you, I'm getting more confused every
Yeah, no,
day. Trey Amos, guys like that. Yeah. Do you want me to pick a player out of all those? If I was to pick a player, I
give
would
me a name. Give me a
probably,
name.
yeah, I'd probably, he's probably not going to be there, but the dream scenario would probably be Campbell.
You think so, huh? Shoot. That would be that'd be fantastic, honestly. I'd be
Yeah,
very happy to
and
see that
I
as
have
well.
seen him. I have seen him drop in now. It's maybe it's a pipe dream, but of those guys I threw out there. But I love Ammon Wari. I like Starks, Trey Amos, Maxwell Hairston, the tight ends after Loveland and Warren. The tight ends can wait till the third round. I like Golden. Yeah, sorry, I'm not giving you a very good answer, but Campbell would be my hope if he was there because
Yeah.
I just we haven't had a Fred Warner type of linebacker in forever, and I think he's kind of. I don't want to make that comparison, but it seems like the 49ers always have two of those guys, and we have one every 15 years.
Yeah, I know. Shout out to London Fletcher. Shout out to James Laurinaitis. Hey, shout out to, Bobby Wagner is 1 year as an all pro. And, shout out to Ernest Jones' contributions during the Super Bowl season as well. But realistically, who would I like to see at pick 26 if we're there to stay put? And let's be honest, is Tyler Warren going to be there? Absolutely not. Is Colson Loveland going to be there? I don't think so, truthfully. Is um, any other offensive weapon that I think is like legitimate premium that we should take a chance on? Maybe, maybe not. But I do have to say, if Jihad Campbell is there, it'd be fantastic. Are the Rams going to do it? No, they're not taking him. But if they do like his pass rushing ability, which I think is very, very good, then they can say, hey, we're getting a player that can do multiple things really, really well. And that's worth a first round selection. That would make me happy. But if I had to choose one guy, realistically, pick 26, oh man. You know what? John A. Barron, I think just makes so much sense. He's such a typical Rams player, right? The corner position we talked about has been up in flux because of the contract situations of Akello, because of Darius, Kobe Durant's final year on his rookie contract, Darion Kendrick's final year on his rookie contract. And with that position being unknown, with the star position, no one likes to play it. I think Jahdae Barron being slotted in as that big nickel, or not big nickel, but that nickel star slot corner immediately, I think would be a fantastic boost to this defense. Who, we're trying to be a top 10 unit and go on a Super Bowl run. I think that would be a fantastic pick. Realistically, at pick 26, the corner
Yeah,
from
he's a
Texas.
guy. I was all over him 2 weeks ago, and now I forgot about him. You're right; he'd be a great fit.
Yeah, so that'd be my selection there at round one, Rams Nation. But would prefer to see a trade back into round two. But you got to find a dance partner for that, and we shall see if that actually unfolds or not. With all the quarterback talk, Milrow this, Jackson Dart this, Shador Sanders sucks, and he's gonna fall. All that yap that's just going around. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and one other point is, if they do bring in Jalen Ramsey, they'll probably go offense. I think they'd go offense in the first round if they did
Yeah.
bring Ramsey back. Just a thought.
Yeah, no, just for sure. I mean, that's definitely possible, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I don't expect a Ramsey trade if it actually happens to
Yeah.
go down within the next couple of days. I just don't see that happening. There's still so much they got to figure out themselves financially with him. But that'd be cool. We'll see what happens. So there's round one for your Rams Nation, right? So no picking round two. Now we go to round three, right? Middle-ish of round three, late round three selections there. Mark, realistically, who would you like to see selected by the Rams in, both those spots? Give me a couple players.
Well, I'll be a little more straightforward this time. It's going to be a tight end or a wide receiver, and I'm thinking the tight end side, Elijah Arroyo, Harold Fanning Jr. I think both of them or one of them for sure will be there. And wide receiver, you
Yeah.
sold me on Kyle Williams, and I think he will be
Yes,
there.
I like Kyle a
I
lot.
think if some people had him shooting up the draft boards. I think he's still a late second, early third round pick. I know you see him as a first round value.
Okay.
If he's there in the third round, I'd be all over it. Wide receiver, tight end. If you want me to pick a name, assuming we go defense in the first round, I'm
Hmm.
going to say Kyle Williams. But if you're right, he's going to be long gone.
Yeah. I think
So
round two he's going to be gone for sure, honestly.
yeah. So
But
let me go tight end though.
yeah,
I'll make a lot of Ram fans happy, and I'll say Elijah Arroyo.
Elijah Arroyo, nice. And then if Kyle Williams isn't there, let's just say who else would you like to see?
Well, it'd be Elijah Arroyo. If Kyle
Yeah.
Williams isn't there, it'd be Elijah Arroyo. You asking me to pick a different wide receiver?
Oh, any player, any player.
I'd go tight end or wide receiver at that spot. And I know you shouldn't be drafting for position, but I just know there's going to be a slew of good ones there.
Yeah.
Wide receiver. Let me think. Who are the Jalen Royals? Someone like that.
That'd be a good selection as well. I like it.
Yeah.
And for me, Rams Nation, realistically, who do I think we're going in round three? Again, if no trades are happening, we're just going straight shooter here. So we go defense with Jade Barron for me in round one. Then in round three, realistically, I think we got to go Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green. Offensive weapon, killed it at the Senior Bowl. Would definitely think that it would work out well with him being the pass catching tight end that McVay has been so enamored with trying to get, right? Gerald Everett was a second round selection way back when in 2017. He was a good receiving tight end. He had some really good moments in games. That, obviously, Higbee's health is always in question. He plays so tough. He plays, with such a relentless physical nature. You can just pencil him from not being healthy the full season, unfortunately, but I hope I'm wrong on that. And then that coupled with his final year as a Ram, most likely, with him being in the final year of his contract, unless he has a Pro Bowl level season. I don't expect him to be back unless he's down for the vet minimum. So with that, Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green, I like. And then realistically, as well in round three, to get somebody, gosh, this can go so many different ways. Inside linebacker, if Demetrius Knight is there, I think that would be fantastic to address the inside linebacker spot. That'd be great. And let's just say those guys aren't available. I think they go wide receiver for sure. And if realistically, who would be there at the wide receiver spot? Oh, baby, I think they go the TCU wide
I
receiver,
was just gonna say that.
Jack Jack Beck, and I
Yeah.
think that would be an absolute home run hit right there. Total Rams wide receiver again. Check out the Rams draft ranking video for wide receivers we did in the last couple weeks. He's a Puka Nacua, Cooper Cup, Robert Woods clone. Blocking is A plus. Tough catches, bulldozes people, good yak, yards after catch ability. I think any of that combination of three guys, Mark, that would be an absolute home run in round three. Harold Fannin
Yeah.
Jr., Demetrius Knight from South Carolina, the inside linebacker, or Jack Beck from TCU, the wide receiver. So I gave three options there. I know I was only supposed to give two, but I think depending on who's available, because I can see Beck going in round two. Honestly, I can totally see it.
Yeah.
Depending on the combination, I think any of that group of three, I think that'd be an absolute home run, Mark. Rams Nation.
Yeah, those are solid picks. And yeah, I was eyeballing. I got my draft list up here right now, and I was looking at Besh, and I was thinking, yeah, I
Oh, Besh,
probably
I said Beck. My bad. My
yeah,
bad.
I've heard it both ways. I think
Yeah,
it's Besh.
you might
Um,
be right. I'm sorry.
no, that's all right. Hey, you're talking to the the worst name pronunciator in podcasting here, so you don't have to apologize to me. But yeah, he's an exciting player. This receiving group is so deep.
Yeah, it's a good
You're
group.
you can find, that's a dilemma. As you fall in love with guys like Matthew Golden and Luther Burden, but then you're like, you know what? We can get someone pretty darn good in the third round at that position. So let's not bother.
No, I mean it's again. You say, Ian, what about safety? Could totally see it going that way as well, right? Maybe you go a Notre Dame safety. I'm blanking on names right now for whatever reason, and yada yada yada. I mean, there's tons of guys that are pretty dang good at the safety spot as well. But Rams Nation, I think it's also important to think about what the hell is going to go on in rounds 4, 5, and 6 that Les Snead do an absolutely fantastic job there, right? You think of Jordan Fuller. You think of Kyron Williams. You think of Puka Nakua. You also think of John Johnson. You think of Nick Scott. You think of, I mean, tons of other guys I'm just blanking on, but those have just been recent guys who were drafted late who made serious game winning, Super Bowl winning impact on this team. I mean, man, oh man, right? Bo Limmer starting for us, playing really good as a rookie center last year to go back on guys. Gosh, I mean, who knows, man? There's going to be somebody in this draft class, like there is every year, that you're going to be like, when was he drafted? Oh, round 5, round 6, 7. And you're going to be like, dang, wish we would have known he was going to be a baller, a la Puka Nakua, a la Kyron, a la other players that we can go down the list of. So I just say I will just bunch it in because this is too many. It goes too deep in the draft mark to start naming players around 4, 5, and 6 and 7. But is there anybody that you really would like to see, that maybe a sleeper that you've talked with Rich, you've and analyzed yourself, that you'd be like, I hope we get that guy late. I really like him, even though he's not highly rated, maybe to your own liking, but that's somebody you're thinking, damn, what a good football player. I hope to see him as a Ram.
Wow, geez, you're really putting me on the spot. And I know there are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me do a quick scan of my memory here, which is a draft board I'm looking at. And, I think there's a couple of quarterbacks that, I know a lot of people are not big fans of him, but you are. Dylan Gabriel, he could be there in the fifth round, right?
hmm
Um,
I
and
for
that's
Yeah, yeah.
I probably stole him from you. You were probably going to bring him up, so I apologize
No,
for
no,
that.
I was gonna go quarterback, but it wasn't gonna be him.
Oh
For
yeah.
me, I think somebody again in this scenario, we did not pick a quarterback. No Milrow, that could still happen realistically. But for me, in rounds 4, 5, and 6, which I think he'll probably even go before then, just truthfully, I mean, I would like to see Kyle McCord get
Oh, okay.
selected by us, maybe a round 4 or 5th pick if he slips and falls there. Which I could see him going in round 3 easily as well. Honestly, based on his physical traits and some of the when he's on, I mean, he looks damn good in my opinion. It's not constant, it's inconsistent, but let's say round 4, right there, and you say, F it, where the Stetson Bennett pick was not that long ago. I mean, definitely McCord has the traits to be able to develop. And I think, him learning and sitting behind Stafford, I think that would do him very, very well. Check out his quarterback camp video with John Gruden. Made me like him as a person and as a player even more outside of just me looking at him from, the eagle eye view of watching film. So Kyle McCord in rounds 4, 5, 6, or 7, any one of those, seeing him get selected, I think that would be pretty cool. And that would be somebody I would like to see selected in the scenario of picks that we've already talked about.
I'll throw 4 or 5 names at you out here. I'm
Right on.
cheating. I'm scrolling through this board, and some names are coming back to me.
Yeah, let's hear it.
One is a Ram, a tight end that Ram fans are probably a little bit familiar with. Thomas Fedoni out of Nebraska. The Rams
Mm,
have met with him. He could go undrafted, and I think the
yeah,
Rams will be all over him. Then there is let me find him, a cornerback out of Nebraska, another Nebraska guy, Tommy Hill, and he's a thumper cornerback, big hitter.
yeah,
We talked about him. I think Scott and I talked about him months ago. And another guy that, again, I people throw out names at me on the YouTube channel, and I look at them,
yeah.
I check them out, and I go, yeah, it makes sense. There's Ram fans out there that like Jeffrey Bassa, the linebacker out of Oregon. I might be mispronouncing his name, He's a little bit light, 232, but if nothing else, a really big special teams contributor. I'll leave it at that. But there are some potential impact players, fifth, sixth, even seventh round this year, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be guys that the Rams are going to find that are going to contribute and play meaningful football. It's just the reality. People get hurt, crap happens. Um, yeah, there's going to be tons of guys, and the draft is deep with good players this year, in my opinion. Very deep at tight end, very deep at running back, very deep at wide receiver, all the skill positions, and then quarterback. A lot of guys you just got to take a chance on, and good at edge, good at D tackle. So I mean, there's a lot of ways this can go, Rams Nation. I mean, to give a perspective, and I'll just name this real quickly. In the Les Snead era as GM, he has taken 16 wide receivers. He has taken 11 corners, 11 safeties, 10 linemen, 10 running backs, 10 defensive tackles, 10 outside edge rushing linebackers, 7 guards, 7 inside linebackers, and then, less than 6 on D ends, tight ends, quarterbacks, and so forth and so forth. So you can bet your bottom dollar a wide receiver is probably getting selected in this draft. You can bet your bottom dollar a corner of some fashion is getting selected. And you can probably say a safety in somewhere in this draft, along with a lineman, along with a D tackle, along with a running back somewhere, and along with an outside edge rushing linebacker. So those, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 groups of positions. I think we'll definitely see those guys on this roster in some form or fashion, whether it be round 1 to round 6, whether we get more picks. I think any one of those, history tells us, unless needs drafts, those guys are going to be added to the team.
Yeah, and I wanted to throw one more name out there. I stumbled across it just now, probably a fifth round pick, and this guy just has LA Rams written all over him, and that's Isaac Tesla of a wide receiver out of Arkansas, another guy to keep your eye.
Yeah,
He
no,
just strikes me as the type of guy.
yeah.
You're going to see him in a Ram uniform. It's like a 50-50 shot at this point. You know a little bit about him,
Yeah, and I watched some of his film. I mean, he's definitely got that physicality that
right?
makes it a prototypical Ram style wide receiver. So, hey, maybe he can be another late round guy that
Right.
blossoms, right? A la Jordan Whittington, a la Puka Nacua, where you're like, oh, these guys could play some damn good wide receiver. And speaking of Jordan Whittington, I mean, hey, that's just another guy that we forget about who
Yeah.
I think will have some type of role, and another less need gem right there late in the draft. So there'll be plenty of those guys, Rams Nation. Man, oh man, I can't wait for the draft to kick off on Thursday night. And whew,
Yeah, and I think thanks
who
to
knows
you
what will
and
happen.
yeah, and I think thanks to you and Scott, me and listeners to this channel and the podcast should hopefully be as educated as ever. And hey, we miss Paul. Paul was really good
Yeah,
at getting, especially at the lower. This is his swim lane here.
yeah.
Who are the steals in the fifth, sixth, seventh round? So we miss Paul for that, but
And
still,
real
I
quick,
think
don't worry, Paul. Paul's in good health and everything. He's just incredibly busy career wise. Where we'll catch him when he has some time later this season, more than likely. But don't worry, he is healthy. He is well. He is just kicking ass with his job and career. So he needs to sleep, and we
yeah.
want to
Hey,
make
we
sure he
should
gets
have.
that.
We really missed the mark here. We should have identified our Puka power picks here when we're talking fifth, sixth round, but
I know.
too late.
Sorry. Respect to you, Paul. Puka Power Picks. Don't worry. We'll save that. We'll save that for you when you start watching film in August again for all the new guys. But dang, Rams Nation. Again, can't be more excited than I already am after really starting to dive into all these guys. Still guys I'm looking at film at D tackle, offensive line, edge rusher. There's just so many talented dudes. But you gotta let us know in the comment section whether you watch on YouTube, whether you watch on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcast. I know there are comment section availability there now, which is pretty cool. So let me know, which players do you want to see drafted by the Rams? Whether it's around 1, 2, trade back 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe some undrafted guys you could say, oh, that'd be somebody to snag up. That's like a sleeper you think maybe won't get drafted, but could be an Omar Spates guy, could be a Christian Roseboom guy that could come in and fill out and be a starter for us in a pinch. Let us know. I definitely want to hear who you guys are honing in on leading up to this draft class, right, Mark?
Yeah, you know what's going to happen. They're not going to draft any linebackers, and they're going to have like five
Yeah, it's
undrafted.
likely. Screw it. If we get more Omar Spates level guys, then I'm ready to rock with it, as he was playing good football in those playoff games and even a little bit before then as well. But that'll do it here, Rams Nation. Again, get ready for the draft. Who knows? Do we go quarterback? Do we go wide receiver? Do we go tight end that McVay's been wanting? Do we go defense yet again a second year in a row? Or do we trade back? We'll see after those first, 5 to 6 picks unfold, and I think we'll get a good idea of what the Rams are going to do from then onward, in my opinion. But that'll do it here on the Rams Up Podcast Network on this draft preview episode. Again, like, subscribe, share this podcast, share this video with all your fellow Rams and football fans out there. That'll do it. But never forget, baby, go Rams.